Hi, everybody. Welcome to Coach's Playbook with Paul LaPolice, your home for elite CFL breakdown and analysis. Today, I thought we'd talk preseason games, how you set up the roster, what it looks like to game plan for some of these games, and great stories of young players getting opportunities to succeed. Time to open the playbook to preseason games. First and foremost, when you get the opportunity, please subscribe to the page. It'll give you notifications when we're posting new stuff, and leave any comments on what you'd like to see from a playbook standpoint. We'll try to push those out too. Preseason games. Ottawa REDBLACKS. I'm here at TD Place. They're traveling to Hamilton tomorrow. Got some time to watch practice and talk to the coaches. But here's what goes on when a preseason game. The team that travels is usually going to take a skeleton crew. And what I mean, they're not going to take a lot of veterans, because you don't want to take your veterans all the way over there, pay for their flights and everything, and they only play a quarter and a half or maybe 2 quarters. So you want to make sure you make the most of the opportunities. So you would leave a lot of the vets home, and you're going to play more young players on the road. You saw that Winnipeg and Saskatchewan last week, on Monday of the game this week. Now, how do you game plan some of these? So let's start defensively. You might see more man coverage defensively, and I can remember being in a preseason game playing Chris Jones when he was the head coach of Saskatchewan, and I think he played man coverage every snap, all 65 snaps. Why? Because coaches want to see players performing in man coverage. They can teach them how to line up and be in zones, but I'll tell you, when the game is on the line and you're going to play man coverage with the lights on and you're going to pressure somebody, I think that's a skill you really make sure you get plenty of evaluation of whether players can play that man coverage. So that's one thing you'll see. Offensively, I think for me, early in my career, I tried to do too many motions with young guys, and it hurts. If one player makes a mistake, then everybody's off the field. And you don't want a 2 and out on a preseason game because you don't evaluate anybody. You don't get your running backs touches. The O-linemen, you don't get evaluations. The receivers certainly can't get touches. So it's real important you keep it simple offensively so you can execute. Part of that process is the offensive line. Here's what's crazy about the Canadian Football League. There's going to be a lot of players that are going to play in some of these preseason games. That might be their only opportunity to play in the CFL. And they're going to get released and maybe go back to college and not have another opportunity. And especially the team traveling, your offensive line crew is going to be a very young unit, maybe facing some more veteran players. So you better have a plan offensively. You can't just drop back and do a 7-step drop all game, because the linemen just don't have the skill level or the experience to handle some of the more veteran players that are going to come at them. So you really got to be cautious how you call a game. You got to have a lot of 3-step. You got to move the launch point because your goal is to evaluate players. And if you're 2 and out every time, it's going to be a struggle for you to evaluate players. A little bit of that happened last week. You saw in the 4th quarter of the Winnipeg-Saskatchewan game. But part of the beauty of preseason games is also seeing kids who maybe this might be their only opportunity. And I got a great story to end with. 2017, Edmonton playing Winnipeg in a preseason game at home, Winnipeg. I don't recall this player's name. Somebody's going to have to leave it in the comments. He played for the Manitoba Bisons. He was a receiver for us in training camp and, wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. 4th quarter, he's on the roster to go in. So what the coaches do, they give you a roster of all the players so you know who's in each quarter. And I know we've got a certain double move play we want to run at the end of the game. Hey, this is going to win the game. This is going to be wide open. Brian Bennett's our quarterback. And I'm looking at the kid on the roster. I'm like, I don't even know if this kid's had any reps this year. But the coaches are like, hey, why don't we go with let's play with one of the vets, put him back in. I'm like, no, let's let this kid. He knows it. He's been in the meeting rooms. Let's see it. He runs the in, and then he does the double move. Huge touchdown, back of the end zone. We win the game. Crowd's going crazy. This is a Manitoba Bison player a couple of weeks ago, and now all of a sudden he's winning a game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And, you knew he was going to be released a couple days later. But what an amazing experience for him to finish the preseason with a touchdown for the win. So there's a lot to go into the preseason games, but the biggest thing is make sure you're evaluating your players.